Hello and welcome to the program. I am at Palos Verdes Peninsula, number 10 Saddleback Ranch, a prestigious and restricted area in Rolling Hills, California, just a few kilometers away from Hollywood. And it is home to Cameroonian-born, internationally recognized and award-winning bariatric surgeon. He is my guest on today's edition of Infront. Follow me.
Hey.
Hello, Dad.
Jimla, welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm so happy to see you.
Glad to see you in California, Los Angeles, and Rolling Hills.
Yes, how you doing?
Fantastic.
Perfect.
We hope
All
you enjoy
right,
us
we can
here.
go get.
Thank you very much. Good.
I am in the living room of one of the world's most engaging personalities with an incredible passion for positively changing lives. An accomplished bariatric surgeon with over 40 years of an outstanding career. President, past president, and board of several national and international medical federations and associations. He is also a publisher, lecturer, businessman, entrepreneur, global humanitarian, and a traditional title holder. Born in Cameroon in 1946, the youngest of 7 children, Dr. Matthias, fondly known as Fobi, hails from Bamenda, northwest region of Cameroon. He is married to Helen Jane Newton Fobi and has 4 daughters and 2 grandchildren. You're welcome to the program, Doctor.
Thank you, Nene. I'm glad to have you here in California. Welcome to Rolling Hills, and I wish you the best.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Doctor, you're one of the few people whom even the choicest words will never do justice to their preeminent career and achievements. Your works have propelled you to surgical stardom, and you are worldly recognized and acknowledged. Growing up as a young boy, did you see yourself in the limelight? Did you see yourself as somebody who was going to be this outstanding?
Not really. There are many times when I pinch myself to see whether this is real. I grew up in a little village, in a little town. My brothers had become teachers before I came around, and my father wanted me to stay in the compound and be the one to take care of the farm. He wanted me to be a tailor so I can go and tap the palm wine in the morning, work in the farm, and by noon go to the store and put on my machine and then work till 4 and then go back to the farm. And I didn't think I would end up being where I am. Obviously, things changed when I finally got to secondary school. I was considered an outstanding student, so I knew my prospects were good, but nothing with what it is right now.
You were the first batch of Sacred Heart College, and you eventually went ahead to do your high school in Cast Bambali. Yes. You want to tell me a little bit about your college days? I understand that they used to call you transparent.
Sacred Heart was fun. For those who have gone to missionary schools in Cameroon, you know that the missionary schools were very, very important in helping to discipline the students. You got up at 6:30 in the morning, you made your beds, you went to church, you came back, you exercised, you ate breakfast, you went to class. Everything was clockwork. And so there was a lot of discipline, which I enjoyed. Like I said, we came from a relatively poor family. You mentioned the name Transparent is because I didn't even have a white shirt. So I had a nylon shirt. So when the Reverend Father asked me, well, how come I'm wearing a nylon shirt instead of a white shirt? I said, well, it's a transparent shirt, and it would take any color that I want it to be. But that was to cover up for the fact that I couldn't afford the regular white shirt that my classmates had. So from then, all my classmates called me Transparent, and that name has lived with my classmates till today. But I did enjoy my stay in Sacred Heart. I came out, the first one to come out of Sacred Heart, in 1964 with 9 papers. That is when I realized my future was bright. And then I went to CAST, and then the next year I went and took the ASPAR exam. I came up at the top of the list. Everybody was encouraging me to either go to France or to London to study because at that time American education was not well respected. But being adventurous, I wanted to go to America, and that made all the difference.
Now, you were one of the, as you said, you were one of the pioneer immigrants from Cameroon to the United States. Actually, you arrived to the United States in 1966.
1966,
Yes. And,
August 5th.
Thanks to, I think, a scholarship. How was integration for you then back in the 60s?
In the 60s, when we came here, there was discrimination. I mean, if you've seen some of my talks, you see where it was difficult. We were well accepted as Africans. Once they knew you were African, you were very easily accepted. But if you just appeared like a black person, you were treated like any other black person. And I remember going down with my classmates to Mississippi during the time when we were trying to integrate the sitting counters, and the dogs were launched at me and the water hose were thrown at me just like anybody else. So that was something I had to learn. But my most difficult adjustment was the snow. I could not adjust to the snow in the Midwest.
But one thing that, made your stay very remarkable at that point in time was your first salary.
Well, within 3 months of coming to the United States, I got a job in one of the auto factories in Pontiac. And I was making like $4.98 an hour. And they paid you on a weekly basis. You paid your union dues and got it. So at the end of the week, I got $90-something cash,
wow,
which was like 1.5 times what I used to earn for the whole month in Cameroon.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll put it and count it and change it to Cameroon money, and I felt like I was on top of the world.
Wow.
And then I'll go to the post office and send some money back home to Cameroon.
You came here to be trained as a general surgeon. How did the training for surgery begin? How did you become a surgeon? How was the training to start with?
No, lucky for me, right after pharmacy school, I was admitted to the University of Cincinnati for medical school. Then when I finished medical school, in 3 years rather than 4 years. Again, I had a whole year at my disposal. So I spent 6 months of my last year in Cameroon at Ebolowa. Mm-hmm. And when I was in Ebolowa, I worked with the Église Presbyterian EPC, Ebolowa. And I learned that the best doctor for Cameroon would have to be a general surgeon, because not only were the doctors expected to treat the patients, they were expected to operate, to take care of women, gynecological problems. So the person that can do that is a general surgeon. So when I came back to the United States in 1973, I decided that when I went into residency, I would do general surgery. And that's why I went into general surgery. The plan was to do something I could go back and use in Cameroon.
Tell me about your training as a general surgeon, especially for those who want to follow in your footsteps.
Oh, general surgery is a field where you train to do almost every surgical procedure. And you're really like a jack of all trades when it comes to surgery, but master of none. Mm-hmm. It's usually a 5 to 6 year training program. Some people were able to do it in 4. I did it in 4 years again. For some reason, most of what I did, I accelerated it. Mm-hmm. But my training in general surgery allowed me to do all types of surgery: orthopedic surgery, neurosurgery, general surgery, deliveries, to give anesthesia. I trained at the King Drew Medical Center in Los Angeles. But what was interesting about my training is that when I was doing that training, I became interested in the area of trauma and nutrition. And then I had the chance to take care of a patient who had a complication from an operation for obesity, for weight loss.
And that is in 1977?
Yes, really it was in 76 when I took care of that patient. And then in 1977, that patient did well and started referring all the patients to me. So suddenly I developed an interest in the field to find out why these people are overweight. Mm-hmm. Then at that time, there was a moratorium on treating anybody with that problem. And there's always this thing with me: the more you say don't do it, the more I'm interested in it. So when there was a moratorium in it, and I saw that there was something effective and you could make the change, that really pushed my interest, and that pushed me to make it a specialty. And so I ended up being one of the pioneers in that field.
All right.
Just out of serendipity.
Perfect. Now, tell me, in the early 80s, you made a revolutionary discovery, medical discovery, that has your name today, which is a signatory surgery. It's called the Fobi pouch.
The Fobi pouch. Really, I mean, thank you for saying it's revolutionary. It's not really. It is just that the procedure which Mason taught me to do, the gastric bypass was beginning to fail after 4 or 5 years. And I found out how to make that surgery not fail after 4 or 5 years by putting a ring in a particular position around the pouch. So by putting the ring around the pouch, we were able to maintain the restrictive component of the operation. So that ring became known as the Fobi ring, and the operation became known as the Fobi pouch. I did not call it that, but that's what it's called, and it's called that till today.
Coming back to your work, I believe that you yourself, you had this surgery done to you, I think,
2011.
2011.
Yeah.
Your daughter, Angela,
Yeah.
she had it when she was 16. Your wife,
Yeah,
has
1996.
had this. Were you trying to prove a point when you were doing all the surgeries, or there
No.
was a real necessity to do it?
Oh no, I wasn't trying. My daughter had the surgery whether I wanted her to have it or not. She was here. It is like when you know something is good, you see it. She lived with it. She saw the people I was operated on, and she knew what she was going through. She was just 16 years old. She told me, "Dad, I'm going to have it done, whether you like it or not." I didn't do her surgery. My partner did her surgery. And I had mine done. As a matter of fact, to be honest with you, I was coming back. I was told them on CNN when they interviewed. I was coming back from Saudi Arabia giving a talk about treating diabetes with the Fobi pouch. And I'm sitting there taking shots and insulin for diabetes. I says, "Why don't you treat your own self?" So I came back and called my associate, one of my friends whom I train, who is a surgeon up in Fresno. I says, "Go ahead and do the surgery. I'm only 78 pounds overweight, but this thing will treat my diabetes." We had the surgery on Saturday, and by Monday, my diabetes was gone. Now, this may sound drastic, but that is just the truth. Within 48 to 1 week, if you have type 2 diabetes, you have this surgery, it controls it.
As Hollywood's weight loss surgeon to the stars, somebody will want to ask about accessibility. How accessible is this treatment, especially to those who are not financially comfortable?
Well, in America, there are 3 ways you can get surgery. You can pay cash for it, you can have a private insurance, or you can have medical and Medicaid, which is a state-sponsored insurance. And there are those who don't have any. When we did very well, and because of the fact that I was running a well-known center, we had enough people paying that we allocated about 10 to 13% of our work to charity to take care of those who could not. But there are still quite a few people today who cannot get access to that surgery because of the cost.
Now, tell me, during your career, you had the opportunity to meld with a lot of Hollywood stars, and you had the opportunity to also carry out surgery on some of them. And that's why I think you got the name Hollywood's weight loss surgeon to the stars.
Yeah.
How did that make you feel?
It is luck. It's being at the right place at the right time. Just because my work was in Los Angeles and the celebrities in Los Angeles. So when this occurred and they saw it on the news, they came to me and I operated on them and they did well. I did Randy Jackson, the star of the American Idol. Mm-hmm. I did Roseanne Barr from the Roseanne Show, Jennifer Holliday from Lady Sings the Blue, Etta James, who is a big blues singer. So by doing all these famous people and all of them doing very well, I became known as this heavyweight Hollywood surgeon to the stars, which is great. I feel good about it. It promoted my practice. It gave me notoriety, and not only locally, but worldwide.
Now, as you said at the beginning, you say you feel gratified, you've done a lot of good things for people. But one way or the other, when you started this whole idea, when you brought up this initiative, it was not well received. And later on, just like in any medical field, you got yourself into some issues, lawsuits,
Yeah.
criticisms. How did you manage that?
Confidence. Some might call it arrogance. You see, when you do something and you know it's right, and you know it's correct, especially with the scientists. There's a society that's called Sumner Lewis Society, where people who are famous, who have seen the light. When you've seen the light and you know it, it doesn't matter what the rest of the people say, you're not going to deviate. When you meet a young lady or a young man who cannot breathe, cannot walk, who is 400 pounds and you're able to go and do an operation, and you watch that person in 12 months go down to 160 pounds, and that person is running around, the person gets married and living, and somebody's telling you that, oh, you cannot lose that much weight. Well, you can't argue against that. They are ignorant. So they're going to sue you in case anybody had a problem. I got sued because one lady claimed that she had lost too much weight too fast, which was what the surgery was supposed to do.
Exactly.
But the rest of society didn't know that. So when she went to court, the lawyer says she looked like a lady from somebody from a Jew from a Nazi camp who had been starved.
Whoa.
And she got $1 million settlement.
Wow.
That gave us an eye opener for me. I says, you can do a good thing and get punished for it.
You say you can get punished for doing
The right
a
thing.
good thing or a right thing. But I think that should be one of the challenges that you faced in your career, your over 40 years career. Tell me, what are some of the difficult parts of doing this job?
The difficult part is I won't call it the difficult part. What you find out when you get into a position like mine, the more you question, the more you perfect it. Mm-hmm. I get invited to talk a lot about this, and one of the things I tell people is, when I knew what I was doing was correct and was good, I perfected it. I taught other people how to do it. I streamlined it to minimize complications. The fact that I got scrutinized, and I think if you talk to most successful black people, that's why sometimes some of us look like perfectionists, because we know we're criticized. We're not judged like the average person, so we have to go the extra step to document everything we do and to make it perfect, so when you come to review it, you become vindicated.
Yeah.
And I think that is what helped me become more successful, because I was forced by the circumstances. I knew I was being judged. I was told openly, if this thing is so good, how come it's not a white person that is promoting it? Those of you who are not aware, it was an aberrant thing to have a black person. Even today, till today, if you go to the International Society, where I was chairman of the board and was president, you go to, the society has 8,000 members. There are about 40 people of African-American origin. So you're like an oddball standing up there. And so you really have to be exceptional to be up there.
All right. Now, 40 years into your career, you've operated upon over 13,000.
My clinic,
patients.
I personally, myself, about 7,000, but through my clinic, we've operated about more than 13,000 patients, yes.
Hectic, and I will ask you, what was a typical day for Dr. Fobi when he was in active service? And what is your typical day now?
Well, when I was in active service, my day started at 5:30 in the morning and ended at about 11:30 at night. For about, I would say for 38 of the 42 years I was in active practice. And in America, we are workaholics. It is just in the last 4 years that I've retired and interacted with my friends in Europe, Australia, and the Middle East, that I realized that Americans have a different working standard.
Okay, let me take you back to Cameroon. You understand that that is your country of birth. And one of the most challenging problems that they have in Cameroon has been poor healthcare services. Mm-hmm. You have been in this field for over 40 years. You've had experience. And I believe that at this point in time, you have a vision. If you were given the opportunity to say what you have as a vision for a country like Cameroon, what they are doing wrong and what they can do to get it right, what will you tell them?
When it comes to healthcare, education, that's all you can do. It is, it's a very difficult problem. The first thing is the value of life and the value of the person. You cannot deal with health till you deal with the value of life. Mm-hmm. In Cameroon, the value of life is not there. One of the beautiful things about the United States is life is so precious. And when life is so precious, maintaining it is so precious. I have been in Cameroon where when somebody gets to a certain stage, they're accepted to be dying and they're left to die. But people are very quick to accept death because of their ignorance and their inability to afford the care. And they are protected by the witchery. Or he is dying because so and so he ate from so and so's house, and the witchcraft doctor wants him to die, and so they accept it. But once people get educated and know that life is salvageable, when they know that you don't have to die from a kidney failure, when you know that diabetes can be cured, then they'll do it. And then the respect for life goes to the political process. When the government start emphasizing the prerogative for life, the right of the individual to have life, then that would translate into the health industry. At this time, there's no right. When it comes to healthcare in Cameroon, I have a lot of opinions. I'll talk to you for a day. Many doctors in Cameroon are being placed into administrative jobs. They are not there delivering. When you go to the health service in Cameroon, a doctor is made a director and sitting in an office pushing paper rather than treating patients. That is one less doctor to see patients. Doctors are poorly compensated. There are so many reasons why doctors don't do a good job in Cameroon. I can't blame them. They are limited with their resources and their supplies.
After all is said and done, what is your relationship with Cameroon? Do you have any plans to go back someday? What are your projects when it comes to helping Cameroon achieve this vision?
Now, at this stage, I'll be honest with you, I have done a lot for Cameroon. I had a foundation that provided scholarships for children to go to University of Chang, University of Boya, University of Yaoundé 1 and 2, the agric school in Chang, all of those. And there are quite a few of them who are graduates who are now working in Cameroon, and some have come here. I helped a lot of Cameroonians come here, apart from my family, and I helped some of them who are here, and now they're helping others. At some stage in life, you have to accept what you've done, and then you have to be thankful that God has given you the time to see your work go to fruition. And I can sit here today and look and see people delivering services to Cameroon whom I helped. So I have gotten beyond the stage now to plan anything for Cameroon. However, if anything arises, like recently we lost a woman in Douala with the twins, and so we are now talking, you're going to hear about it. One of the doctors called me and says, we have to get a union of all Cameroon doctors in the United States so we can get together and see how we can help ourselves and how we can help our country. In that way, I can participate, but I'm not going to be spearheading it. So I'm going to be involved in things like that.
You have been inspired by a lot of people. You said growing up you were inspired by people like Dr. Fonta, I think I remember Dr.
Muna,
Dr. Muna.
Dr. Ngu,
Yes.
Dr. Du Bois. See, let me tell you one of the biggest things I have to tell you this is the people, the honest truth, what made me become a doctor. My mother was an asthmatic. She couldn't breathe. And she was gone for 2 days, just heaving, and we thought she was going to die. We were waiting for my mother to die. Dr. Du Bois walked into our compound. For some reason or the other, my brother-in-law was able to bring Dr. Du Bois to the compound. He came and gave my mother an injection, which I know what it is now. And within 2 minutes, that woman started breathing normally and asked for food. And I says, a doctor can make somebody do this. And I just says, I'm going to do this one of these days. And that was my biggest motivation.
People call you a lifesaver. People call you a medical prophet because there were things that you said that has come to pass.
Yes.
People call you a legend. People give you names. People literally worship you. How does that make you feel? People show you a lot of love.
Yes, people show me a lot of. I thank God for it. I thank God for it. I cannot explain. I mean, I don't feel any better any day. I just thank God for it. The only thing I would say, I liked other people. I give an interview like this, hoping that other people can say they can do the same thing. I didn't come from a house where we had the money. I came from a very poor family, relatively. I studied. I did well not because I was particularly the most intelligent child. I did well because I read the books, I did the homework. When it came to taking care of people, people call me a lifesaver, not because I did a miraculous operation, it's because when I operated on anybody, it was like operating on my sister or my brother, and I wanted them to live. And when they had a problem, I stuck with them till they did well. People respect me because I saw a field that was being challenged in 1977. It was going to what was a moratorium on weight loss surgery. And accidentally, I found out that it worked. And then I took it upon myself to teach the world that the surgery worked. And today, it is one of the biggest fields in general surgery. So when you sit down and see that there's something that you were part of bringing the change, you feel gratified.
As the saying goes, they say many are called, but few are chosen.
Yes.
And I want to believe that you are the few, or the chosen few, who have been blessed to move from scholarship to scholarship. I mean, from your story, I understand that you have been given scholarship your entire life. You want to tell me about that?
Well, I mean, like, from after the first scholarship was given to me by my brother. It was in standard 2. There were many of us, so my brother gave me 5 shillings to go to school. I used the 5 shillings to buy petrol, what we call at that time petrol, which came out to 7 bottles. You buy it for 5 shillings, and you sell one bottle a shilling, so you sell for 7 shillings, and then you make money. And then I gradually did that. I used that to educate myself through primary school in Mancon. Then I got a scholarship to go to Sacred Heart College. When I went there, all my other friends who had brothers and sisters were assisting money. I didn't have any money, so I had a scholarship to do the school, but I opened the canteen at Sacred Heart College. I went to Reverend Father and said, look, these kids don't have to go to town to buy their food. I can go and buy the bread and everything. And so he gave me the money to invest. So I started a business right in college, Sacred Heart College. So if there's a canteen day today, I was the one that started it. And that gave me the extra money to do whatever I did. Then when I finished from there and I came to the United States, I had a scholarship to come here. But when I came here, I started, 1 month after I got here, I started working for the auto company to make money on the side. And I used that money to invest because I used to send money through the post office to help educate all my nieces and nephews. And they're all here now in the United States. So it has been one thing from day one after the other. I got scholarship and I gave scholarship. I got scholarship. And the more you give, the more you get. And that's all I can teach anybody who wants to listen. If you give honestly, expecting nothing, you're going to get twice in return. But if you give expecting something, you probably won't get anything because you're going to give stupidly. But when I gave, I didn't even think. There are many Cameroonians who say, look, when I arrived in Cameroon, I had this problem, I called you and you did this. I said, okay, that's fine. How are you doing? You doing okay? I said, fine. Just remember to help somebody someday. I turn around and someday I find CNN is here to cover Dr. Fobi for doing surgery. I have a television network coming from Korea to cover me. It's one coming from Germany. Well, then I get an invitation from the Germans to come and give a lecture. You see, when you do those good things, it pays off.
And I think God is blessing you already.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of the first part. If you enjoyed Dr. Fobi as the doctor, as the physician, you want to hear more about him as a not a politician, an activist and a humanitarian. And he's got just a lot of life lessons to give us when we meet next time.